All right. Hello, guys. Wait 1 more minute. Hello. Let me know if you hear me great. This is your microphone here, and there is not like echo. Okay, sounds great. Okay, sounds great. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being with me today. Today, as usual, we make a weekly forecast, check dollar index and, macroeconomic effect that the market can get. Also, let's say we will review some key zone on some major pairs and also a few ones. So it will be interesting. That's the zone that we will have to check and be aware in the following week. So this session are generally the, let's say, not the main one, but one of the most important of the week, as it can give us some opportunities and some end zone of what we can do this week. I will start with the dollar index that I believe is on it can be the beginning of a small retracement on the dollar index. That's something that still we should check, but this is the dollar index. We know that this key resistance on the daily chart just break above, and actually we are trading around the 90s, between the 96 and 97 zone. Okay, so this is between approximately here, okay, and here. And you see that the market is making, we already saw this on the daily chart, but all the time the market is making, let's say, a lower high and a higher low. Okay, so maybe there is a beginning of a compression here, and that's why we should look at the lower time frame to check if there is something to do. Okay, so you have let's say a trend line like that. Okay, you have a trend line like that as well. And we are actually at the end of this triangle. So let's say if the market break above, let's say above, I will, let's say, continue with the trend and trade with the dollar with, let's say, the euro dollar. I will continue to go short, for example. If the market do the opposite and break this small uptrend line, I will try to bet for a weakened dollar for this week. But there is also something even more interesting. If I look at the H4, okay, I will just remove this. So this is the extreme zones. Okay, for example, you have this that is very, very important. Okay, you have this head, sorry, these shoulders. Okay, you have the head here. Then you have the second shoulder, so it's kind of, let's say, Quasimodo pattern here, and there is something like that. Okay, I will just remove this and this. Okay, so there is something like that. So they're kind of starting a divergence on the price. So that's why you should be ready for, let's say, a break. If we break out below okay, this uptrend line, I believe that the dollar index can go even lower, and it will be the same on the euro dollar, okay. And if I go to the daily, I will go even on the weekly. Okay, I believe that if we break this zone here, the price can reach, let's say, this level again. So it's 94, for example. Regarding the weekly, there is also something interesting. Okay, you see also in the weekly that the market is doing, you know, starting to make a small compression. We have one doji, second doji. We started the third week, so you know this is a zone that starts to compress. Okay, and there is, let's say, this zone. Okay, that the market break below, starting to make a retest. Let's say the markets want to push even higher. The next zone that will be very important for me, and I will also show you in the euro dollar just after it, it's this zone here. Okay. So this will be, let's say, if I'm wrong and I still believe that I should be long, this will be my target, for example. Okay. I don't want to go even higher than that because the price can take even a few months or few years to come back to the highest level here at above 100. Okay, but one of the key zones will be that point. And also something very interesting is that the market, you see that from here, from 99 to 93, then we break, let's say, this resistance. The market again move from 93 to 96, so it's approximately from 89 to 93, it's approximately 4 points, and here from 93 to 96, 97. So you see that the target of this double bottom here kind of approach. Okay, it's kind of maybe the hand. Okay, I don't want. I'm generally an aggressive trader, so I want some part of my trading view is that to not sometime wait for confirmation, and maybe here 3 doji on a row can be confirmation for me. Other trader maybe want to wait that the price come back a bit in order to open the sell position. But you should be careful at this H4, at what we see here on the H4, for example. Okay, we have here a compression between the highest point and the lowest point. Okay. So this is something you should look. So this is the dollar index. And if I go back, I will also go to the MT5. Wait a minute. Okay. So in order to continue the small analysis that I did on the dollar index, we can see that on the euro dollar it's the same, but you know, inversely, because here we are trading euro and the dollar. So when we see all this downtrend, that means that the dollar gets stronger. Okay, and actually, okay, you see this little movement here. It's exactly the move above that what we see. Okay, so let's say this zone here, okay, is exactly the zone that I will come back again on trading view in order to show you. Okay, so the zone that I just showed you is exactly this zone here. Okay, you see that it's make like a small retracement and then goes back. Okay, it's exactly what we see here on the, you see exactly here. What it's approximately can happen. What is actually happening is that on the euro dollar we already get into this kind of zone. In the dollar index we are still below, but we started to see a little divergence on the dollar index. Okay. So here on the weekly, it might be, let's say, you see, we have one pin bar, second doji. You see, here might be the low. Okay, I don't have stochastics here. Let's say if I can see that. Okay, with my analysis here, but Okay. Also, stochastics is below 20. You know, there is also a high chance that the market go back to this zone. But if, you know, if I see that the dollar index, the divergence is confirmed, and here I see that the next week the market is still starting to consolidate here and making a small upper move, there is a high risk reward for that trade. I believe that it can be a great opportunity to take, for example. Okay, and still it's a swing position to make here. And even if you're a positional trader, and I know that generally institutional trader, you know, open buy limit multiple times and hold the position for a long time, I believe that here there will already some institutional that will buy here. Okay, and also at that point, definitely. Okay, so maybe what will do the institutional, they will open a large amount of buy position here. If the market goes down, they will open a buy again in order to average that position. So that's what institutional will do in that case. We see also that it's approximately the 2017. Yeah, it's approximately here. I don't see the dollar getting even stronger below 1. I don't think, even, you know, psychologically and also what's going on in the macro world, it's very difficult to think that the dollar can be even stronger, okay, and get, let's say, euro dollar is 1. Okay, I believe it's going to be very difficult to achieve that in the few weeks and in the few months, even in the few years. But if I check also at the monthly, look what is good here. Okay, I have this kind of trend line that we know, and this is also my view. So again, I will come back to the small disclaimer, but all what I told today and I explained is only for my technical view and for my own, you know, my own analysis. So maybe you think the opposite and you believe that the dollar will still get stronger in a few years. I believe that the dollar will still year after year getting losing some value, and I believe that, you know, in few years, in 5 years from now, the dollar can be at 1.20, 1.30 on the euro. So that's what I think. And if I go to the monthly, look, this uptrend here we see from the 2000. But look, it's also like the same. If I go even to the to 1981, you see that the trend line is clear. Okay, all the time the markets make big, you know, big shape and big cycle, and I believe that here can be the beginning of a big cycle. Still, it's I go like from, you know, 50 years ago. So this will be difficult. So here can be a first entry point for an institutional and positional trading, and here can be the second point. You know, at this trend line approximately to that demand zone. Okay, that will be my second entry if I want to enter. Okay. So this is interesting. This is very interesting, and still on the upside, we know clearly that this key zone. Okay, you have this certain key zone. What's the price here? 1.23. Okay, so the price of the dollar, it starts kind of consolidate between 1.08 to 1.23. Okay, so that's what the price is doing. There is like a price cycle here, so you should be careful on that. I believe that the market on the dollar soon, it can be in the following weeks, it can be in the following months. The market can, for the institutional, they can find an opportunity to make a long at that entry, for example. I will try to answer a question here. Steve is telling, sorry to interrupt you, how much time it usually takes to send login details in MT5? This is something regarding the help desk. Generally, it takes you minutes. So if you didn't receive this, you can send an email to help@the5ers.com, and an agent will help you in the next hour. Okay, so you can send us an email. Okay, let's continue. It's the euro dollar. I believe there is a high chance and high opportunity to make something interesting here. But still, okay, you see on the daily, there is a demand, a fresh demand that creates here. The market is starting to consolidate. There is a smaller trend. I would prefer to wait. Again, generally Monday, you know, it's opening of the market. There is like no decision. We'll check as well what's going on with the Omicron virus. Okay, if the Omicron is starting again to not to be like economy will closed, and there will be like new things on US, it can affect the dollar, for example. Okay, so today there is like nothing. You see, today the market didn't open yet. It will open, let's say, 15 minutes. Also at 5 p.m. My time. You see, the market is start consolidation. Like there is no such a big move for the moment. Okay, let's move to the yen. Yen moved very well last week and respect to a big resistance zone as well. Okay, I would remove the trade history. Okay, so it's the weekly. Actually, the market react. Okay, so this is the extreme zone on the weekly, and I know that here as well there is a zone, for example, that approximately to that zone the market can make a reaction to continue. Okay, I believe that the market can continue. You know, a small retracement, only technical, but the market can move back again to the moving average here of the standard of the Bollinger Bands. If I go to the daily, yeah, okay, you see, so this is let's say a key zone. I will remove. Okay. So generally, I want to go with the trend. Okay, so you see that's also respect to that level as well. Okay, but even if you look only on the daily chart, you see that here it's a big zone, and you see that we have all the time on the daily chart. You see all the time the uptrend is still clear. Okay, you see that the market make all the time a higher low. Okay, and I believe that if the market touch this kind of zone, if like, let's say the market continue to goes down until that zone on the uptrend, and I have like a volume and a volatility indicator that will give me an insight to go long, so I will be happy to open a long position at exactly that point. And on the H4, yeah, on the H, yeah, there is that place here that the market is still struggling to break out below. Okay, there is something like this on H4, and if I go to H1, yeah, on H1 and H4, there is a big pressure on the downside. Okay, so here opening a sell position will be, let's say, the best option to make, because the price is making all the time a lower high. Okay, so here, for example, an H1, let's say it would be like at that point last week would be a nice sell. Also today, let's say the market, move to that zone, make a big, like a small candlestick, and as well, my stochastic switch above the 80-point level and can reach this support zone. But I believe that the market already consumed multiple times this demand. Okay, so you see here there is a demand. Okay, on the rectangle. We'll also remove this line. Okay, so you see that here at that point a fresh demand create. Okay, so we consumed it one time, we consumed second time, and then the third time, after when the price will come back again and again in a demand. Okay, that means all the buy entry and all the orders will be consumed, and there is a high chance. Even you see that there is a big pressure on the downside, the market can even break below. Okay, the market can break below, and if I would open a sell, it will be at that trend line, and not when the price break out here. Okay, I want to all the time increase my risk reward, and that's why I would open here a sell at that point, for example, on the H1, and wait for the price to go again to that demand, close, let's say, X% of my take profit, and if the price break below, so I would be happy to hold 30%, 40%, 50% of what of the sell I have, for example. But again, you should look at the target on the daily, this zone. Okay, this is a very important zone. Also, it's the continuity on the weekly pushing momentum. So that's what I see on the yen. Yeah, it's exactly with respect to approximately this supply. Okay, interesting. Let's talk about the dollar CAD, and also I also will move to the oil just after, because there is a big correlation lately on between the oil and the CAD, the Canadian dollar. When there is high volatility in the oil, and that's what happened last week, and let's say 2 weeks ago it started, the USDCAD is negatively correlated to oil, and that's why we should have a look at oil when we trade the dollar CAD. Okay, so this is on the daily. Okay, you see that on the CAD, when the market is approaching a big, let's say, resistance level, the market make like a big volatility push. Okay, so on the daily chart, when opening, let's say, a short position here, the market can make like a big spike and then going down, for example, with that doji. Here the risk management should be perfect. Okay, see the market can move back down, make a fake breakout, let's say like here, and we see big spike in volatility at that point when the market want to, let's say, break a big resistance. So that's why the risk management on the daily chart on the dollar CAD should be even perfect. Okay, so that's what I see on the daily. We approach a big resistance and supply zone. We will see what's happening in oil, because it can give us an indication what we can do here on the CAD. But if I go to the lower time frame, for example, the H4, I look clearly that there is a bigger trend, that the market didn't break it yet. Okay, the market didn't break it yet. Also making all the time the market make, okay, you see that the market make an higher high. Okay, and if I go, let's say to the H1, you will see that here the market starting to make consolidation, compression. Okay, and that's what the market is actually doing right now. Okay, you see on the H1, the market create a big resistance here. Okay, and there was also this zone. Okay, approximately, I will, it will be even easier to show you the zone. Okay, so here, okay, you see that tighty point. This is a classic key zone and entry point to go. There is here on even on the, let's say on the M30, for example, even the H1, there is here from me a big indication to go long, for example. Okay, we have here a big demand, like this was a high point, let's say so-called resistance, make multiple tests. Okay, breakable, going pushing forward and then getting back again to that zone. Okay, along with the trend line that I created on the H4. Again, I don't like too much to make trend line, because it can go below, go above, and but I think that the signal is efficient. Okay, all the time I see that approximately I have a zone. When the market is making a big pushing downward to attract buyers, and then the market make a big push. Okay, so here you see, okay, if I remove also this trend line, you will see what I'm talking about. Okay, so it's approximately, generally when the market is on a big uptrend, this is what the market is doing. Okay, the market is having a high point, break above the high point, making multiple tests and pushing above. Okay, so that's what the market is doing. You will see that it's exactly the same, for example, at let's say at that point, for example. Okay, it's exactly the same approximately. Okay, so you see the market make a high, pushed above a high, going back to that zone and pushing again. Okay, so it's called like market structure. Okay, so there is also here this kind of setup. Okay, there is also here. Okay, so it's very good to use this kind of, breaking out and retest on a big uptrend. The first one here is a bit not difficult, but yeah, I think here, I think again, we can here open. I think when there is a big demand here, it's already the beginning of a long rally. Okay, so here might be also as well a nice entry. Okay, so you see all the time market structure is create, and there is all the time the trend line along. Okay, approximately that help us, to go with the trend. Okay, why not? If I'm talking about the forecast of the week and what we can expect, I will also go to all and check what's happened there. But okay, I see on the daily that today, I think the market is very struggling to make a big pressure above, and I think that's kind of the same on the on the oil. It's very difficult for the oil to push below, and I will explain. I like a potential long at 1.2765, 27.65. So it's approximately here. Okay. Okay, why not? If I would, I don't know what time frame you're looking for, but if you look at the H1, that might be an entry. Okay, but I think in that type of pattern, when you see that on the daily, okay, the market reach a big resistance. Also on the H4, the market is starting to consolidate and to compress. Okay, I think you should, let's say, allocate the risk. You like to make a partial entry. Okay, so you can open a partial entry here and make a partial entry at that zone. Okay, and the stop loss should be, let's say, here. Okay, so the stop loss, if you want to open a buy here, the stop loss should be, let's say, approximately here below the lowest point here. Okay. Then you make a buy entry at that zone. Okay, so that's all you wanted to open the position, and you want to reinforce, okay, your position exactly here. Okay, and here the risk reward will be above above, let's say 1 to 2, I think. Okay, let's say your average price will be here. You have a stop loss of 45 pips. Okay, and let's say you want to come back to the extreme. Let's say 63 or even the highest point 82. So it will be 1 to 1.5 approximately, even above that. Okay. Before opening a position on the CAD, I want to look at the oil because there is a negatively correlation here. So I will come back to oil. Okay. I think that's what we look here. Okay, so it's the weekly on the. So here it's the weekly on oil. Okay. This zone is very crucial. Okay, actually, the zone of 62, 60 is a very crucial zone. I remember when I was trading oil. I know that 60 was a big key zone. Okay, and you see exactly that the market. I traded approximately all when between here and approximately here, and I know that 60 was psychologically a big key zone. And actually, you see, even when the market on March 21, the market reached 60, the market stayed a lot of time into 60, breakout above, making another test, and actually again, okay, the market is testing a new demand here that the market create, and you see that the market already consumed some of the demand. And if I go back to the daily, okay, I see this kind of pin bar. I see that the market is starting to push. Okay, I believe that if oil is starting to move above, okay, the dollar CAD is starting to crash. Okay, actually, if oil reach again, let's say this supply, okay, and there is a big push in oil, so that's why you should look at the fundamentals of oil. You should look at the numbers of oil. You should look at what we talk in the OPEC. Okay, OPEC is the organization when we talk about the production of oil and what is the production in the world, what is the consumption, and so on. And also very important to check if the new virus, the Omicron virus, will affect the transportation in the world. We know that oil mainly is used for transportation. Okay, it's used for plane, it's used for cars, it's used for many things. So if country will lock down the countries and stop flights, okay, oil can move below. That's something that we cannot know and we cannot expect, but you can start to have a little mindset and to say, okay, there was already a lot of variance. Even US, even Europe didn't close their borders yet. So, you know, maybe this was healthy come back to that zone, but 60 is still holding very great. Okay, so if the market is pushing above an oil, the dollar CAD, I will go back to the chart. The dollar CAD will probably break all this big demand, let's say to that zone or even to that zone. Okay, if oil, again, if oil break below 60, okay, we will have a big pressure above this 1.28, 1.29. Okay, there is a high negative correlation nowadays in the oil, so that's what you should look for. So if it's a long, so LG, if it's a long good point for reversal, try to apply what you think on oil in the dollar CAD, and I believe that, let's say on the M30 can be a small opportunity to go on CAD, okay? But if oil is starting to push above 62, let's say 65, 68, dollar CAD will have a high volatility spike like here and will break this demand that is already consumed a little bit here, for example. So that's something we should look for, okay? Okay. Maybe you want to talk about, I don't know, New Zealand or Aussie dollar. Maybe we can talk about the Aussie dollar. Let's say some key point. Yeah, as well here, there is something interesting. I know, okay. Will the Aussie dollar fall? Okay, that's a good question. I don't know, but we will try to make some kind of analysis. I know that, for example, Yaniv is all the time showing this kind of trend line, okay, and believe that's already broke. I believe that and that's something I have to check. I don't have the number, but I want to check. You know that when you trade the pairs against another pairs, there is one pair that have the biggest influence on the other one. Okay, so when you trade, for example, the euro dollar, you know that the dollar have a big influence on the euro. Okay, that's a data that I want to find. Here, I want to know, is the Australian, okay, is the Australian losing value, or is the dollar getting stronger? Okay, so that's maybe the main question. But actually, it's approximately the same pattern I see on the euro dollar. Okay, you see, if I go on the weekly, okay, so this is the USD dollar, okay, and this is the euro USD, okay, so you see you have this top, like this double top, you have like this kind of okay, we will do it, let's say, okay, I will move all of that, and then you will see if you see a difference. Gbp Usd, yeah, the pound. I will talk on the pound just after. That's something I wanted to do. So, okay. Oh, I want to get rid of all of that. Never mind. Okay. Okay, this is the difference, okay, between the USD dollar and the euro dollar, okay? Tell me on the chat, or you believe there is maybe not a correlation, but a similar pattern here on the USD dollar and the euro dollar, okay? It's kind of believed the same way. Of course, it's the dollar, but we see that we are approaching a certain kind of level, okay? Here you see on the euro dollar, okay, that's like I explained just before, we are approaching this kind of zone. Okay, you see this small demand, the beginning of the demand. The beginning of the demand is just here on the US dollar. Okay. Okay, let's say approximately like the dollar index. Okay, And also the Aussie dollar can respect to that demand as well on the weekly. Okay, there is a demand. Okay, and even I want to open a buy here, I will open partial. Again, I'm talking like more about an institutional, a long-term position. But here I can open a buy and I can open a buy here as well. Okay, when I see that maybe when I will reach this zone, the euro dollar can reach that zone. Okay, so when the euro dollar can reach that zone, the Aussie dollar will be, let's say, at that zone approximately. Okay. So still the trend line that we see here is broken, but you know there is just a demand here. Okay, and the market can make, you know, making a retest to that trend line, and another the market can reach again that zone, for example. Okay, so it's 200 pips already. Okay, still on H4, the downtrend is still again very real. Okay, you see that it's very difficult to make a buy on H4. Believe that if the market create on the H1, for example, making like a double bottom, for example, the market may do something like that, and then the market come back and make like, you know, a small higher low, and then the market starting to react something like that. Okay, maybe it gives us an indication. Okay, that this zone and you know this weekly zone can respect well to that point. Okay, so this is for the USD. And here already you see on the M30, this is not enough, okay, to make a long on the daily chart yet. But you see on the M30 that the market is still making all the time, let's say from last Friday of last week, making, you see, higher low. Okay, but still, I believe that on day 4 the market can make another test to that big zone. Okay, so this is for the Aussie dollar. Let's talk about the pound. I will also, by the end of the session, talk about heat map. I know that this can be important to know where we stand. I know that already with the dollar index and what we see on the euro dollar, and also in the CAD, we approximately know when can be the big moves the following week. But heat maps is still, you know, interesting to see. Okay. Yeah, the pound dollar is still on a big downtrend. I don't like to open a trade when the market is already like, maybe here will be like an opportunity, but when the market is like, don't make any retracing or any pullback, it will be very difficult for me to make something on the daily. Even on the weekly, maybe this zone can be a zone psychologically that can you know, that can work. It's approximately the 1.31. Okay, so 1.31 from 2018 to at the end of 2020 was a big resistance zone, and actually we come back again to that zone. You know, actually there is nothing to make a buy here. There is the market is still very strong on the downside. The dollar is still very strong here. I don't know if I don't know if the dollar is getting stronger than the pound, or maybe the pound is getting weakened. Okay, maybe because of the Brexit, for example, or maybe because the government in UK decided of something that made the currency lost a value. But if I have a comparison between the, I don't know, the daily chart of the pound and the euro dollar, I believe that it might be that the pound is losing some value and the dollar is gaining some value. So that's why we check that there is at least no retracement at all today, for example. Okay. All right. maybe here, if you still believe that here can be, let's say, an entry point, but if the market make like a turn back at that zone, it will be very difficult to make a sell. I don't know. I wouldn't trade the pound, for example. Maybe on a on a short time frame, but on the daily it's going very difficult. Okay, and you already that if we expect to that point on the M30, consume, it will come back again and consume again. Yeah, that can be a nice setup to wait for retracement and onto a short, but again, the price already moved, I don't know, 600 pips without a big retracement. And if the dollar will start to lose some value, like I see on the dollar index, and like I see on the euro dollar, for example, that we cannot reach a psychological level very important, and the dollar will start to lose some value. There is the market. I don't know how much the market can go short again. Okay, so even there is a course on MA, making a trade on M30 and M15 will be fair enough and will be great. But again, if I look, let's say 1 week, 2 weeks forward, I would prefer to wait what's made the dollar index, and I believe that in 2 weeks in front of me, I will have some ideas. Okay, even 1 week, maybe this weekend could be the turnover of the market. Okay, so that's for the pound. Let's talk about New Zealand against the dollar. It looks like the dollar is getting stronger. I want to check. No, nothing else. Okay. Again, you see that's exactly the same scenario that we have here. Okay, resistance, approximately the same of the pound. There is a beginning of a demand just here, okay, and this is a fresh demand again, okay. So by opening a buy or opening a sell here, I don't have a lot of. I have like 150 pips if I want to make a target profit in the downside. If I wait the key zone and the key moment to, let's say, entry on the, let's say, a small long, and when you trade the New Zealand dollar as well, you also want to wait something consequent on the weekly regarding that zone on the euro dollar. Okay. Again, that's, I believe that I will have to check the dollar index. Okay, and if if the divergence is confirmed, then I see that the dollar index is starting to drop. Okay, the New Zealand dollar, the euro dollar, the pound dollar, okay, all that pairs will starting to move up again. Okay, and here the main challenge is to know the timing, okay, on when to open, let's say, this pullback or this long position. It will be the hardest things to do is to have the timing to open here, let's say, a returning situation. Okay, yeah, there is a potential to drop. Okay, there is a potential to drop. I agree, but it can have a potential to drop here, maybe here, okay, to that zone. But I'm not sure that the market can drop here. Okay, I have no clue. Like, if you expect the New Zealand dollar to come back to that zone, okay, that means that all the New Zealand, like the country, the economic of the country, will be completely devastated. Okay, and I don't know what is the economy of the New Zealand, but that's something we can check. Okay, but I believe that the market is still on a good wealth, and there is nothing to be afraid of. Like in Turkey, okay, we know that the lira Turkish, there is a big inflation, and the lira Turkish have lost like 40%. of his value. But the second thing is to check what's happening in the dollar, and I believe that those times the dollar have a dominant influence in the market, and that's why always the case, you know, when the markets make big drops. Okay, but yeah, here on the H4, that's kind of the same of the pound dollar. It's very difficult to make something. The main thing to do is to go with the trend and open a sell position on M15 on M30 on either strategy that you have. But if I go on the daily, weekly, I would prefer to wait in order to let me know what I can do. Again, if you think that there is 100 pips to win here with the MA cross or whatever, you can open the sell. In my point of view of a trader, I would prefer to wait in this kind of scenario. Okay. Any other question, guys? Any other maybe pairs that you want to review or a talk before I move to something else? Gbp USD. We already did the pound dollar. Okay, I said that the H4 have H4 and even daily great bearish momentum. There is nothing to make a buy yet, and we have to look what will do the dollar index to know. I'm looking at something here. Okay, I want to show you something about the news that we have this week. Okay, so there was today a speaks like a few hours ago regarding the pound. Maybe it's affect a little bit more the market. What happened actually on pound? Okay. So the market moved up this morning, and then we retraced everything, making a head and shoulders on the M15. Okay, look. Okay, so it's probably what's happened in the morning. Okay, it's exactly this zone. Okay, make a breakout, we test, and actually here we have the shoulders, the head, the shoulders. Okay, and yet the market can still reach approximately 30 pips. So the market can move again to that 20 pips, but there is still a demand here. But it's react well to that supply as well on the M15. Fresh supply that the market reacts instantly. Okay, let's move back to the calendar. Something also important tomorrow on the Australian, okay, cash rate, heavy estate statement. So tomorrow, look at the USD dollar. If I think that the USD dollar can be in a way that the market can turn around. So I believe that maybe tomorrow, I believe this will be tonight. I'm getting this hour. Can have something dominant. Okay. And here Wednesday, okay, this could be very important. Okay, on Wednesday we have the crude oil inventories. Okay, generally when we get the inventories of oil, it moved the oil a lot. Okay, so you should expect here a movement in dollar CAD as well. Okay, so be ready on that news here. It's here related to the dollar, but recently I believe that the CAD especially will have a move on the crude oil inventories, and we see that the number here is 0.9%. It was the last one. If I go forecasts. Okay, so we don't have the forecast yet for that. Okay. Anyway, And also here at 5 p.m. we have the overnight rate of the CAD and the rate adjustment. So Wednesday it will be very volatile on the dollar CAD. Either it will be on the rate statement, or 30 minutes after there will be the news on oil. Okay, so Wednesday, if you want to have a small, let's say, a small movie, okay, you know, like on the cinema, you can go on the CAD and put the chart, and everything will move. It will be very volatile, I believe. Okay, maybe the overnight rate will not move. Okay, you see that it's still 0.25%, but still, we know that before news, after news, even the market, the number didn't change. It can be very volatile. Okay, and also with the oil inventories just 30 minutes after. What we have, I think that's it. Okay, so we have tomorrow the Aussie dollar with the cash rate. Okay, that can be interesting. Then we have Wednesday the CAD. So you should look at the CAD Wednesday, either on the rate statement or either on the crude oil inventories. Unemployment will not be Wednesday. Also there is the talk of the Lagarde, that this is the president of the central bank in Europe. I don't know if there will be some change. All the time she speaks all the same things, so I don't know if the euro can make something different until now. Then they know that there is like quantitative easing on the market, but it can be also an you know, we don't know, and we cannot expect what Lagarde will talk in this speaks here. But yeah, the euro can be also interesting on Wednesday. Okay, Thursday there is CPI in China. There is nothing interesting here. But then on Friday we have the CPI. That's or you already know can be very volatile for the dollar. So maybe here the dollar can have a big move, the dollar index, for example, and then all the pairs regarding the dollar. Okay, so that's something we'll have to check that week. Again, I repeat, tomorrow there was the Aussie dollar with the cash rate and the rate statement. Wednesday we have the CAD, okay, that will move also with the rate statement and the crude oil inventories. Okay, that will move definitely the dollar CAD. Also in the morning we have the speaks of Lagarde regarding the euro. Okay, yes, Thursday also we have like Glory speaks on the USD, but I believe that's that the CAD will be very interesting on Wednesday. And then on Friday you have the CPI as usual on the dollar. That can that here we have some change. Okay, you see that sometimes when the market is not giving the same number and there is like, you know, 0.2% forecast above, it can be like small volatility on the market. Okay. Can we hear break out on test, for example? Yeah, this kind of setup I like, for example. Okay, you see there is a break and then making a retest at that zone, for example, in order to wait for this kind of setup to go. Okay, this might be, let's say, a zone I can open. Okay, my bad. I was looking at the pond, but definitely a kind of setup as a day trader that I want to check. Like you see, big support line making a break resistance. You see this big candle. So you go even to the M1. You see that after this candle, you can even open a short here at that zone. Okay, even a double top on the M1. Short scalp, very interesting. Anyway, guys, I think at the end of the session, I hope you enjoy this forecast. Very interesting thing that we have on the dollar index on the on that one. The CAD that will move a lot this week. Look at the oil that will reach the 60, between the 60 and the $62 per barrel. That is a psychological key zone. And you know, all the dollar that can have a continuation of a strong dollar, or it can be the beginning of a new era, a new cycle. that the dollar will start losing some value, and we will have some movement in the euro dollar in the opposite direction. Okay, so it's interesting, and I hope actually you enjoy this session. Thank you very much for being with me today and joining me. Again, something last I want to say. We are changing the format of the training room. As you know, we made, for example, each Monday a weekly forecast like we did. We try and say to not enter the market, but to talk about big macro statistics, big key zone on each pairs, some heat map, some news that can affect the week. So that's what we did on Monday. Tuesday, we make a live trading room, like focusing on the chart and making some intraday trades, also maybe swing opening trades. And Wednesday, there is a class, generally Sao made it, a class regarding risk management, psychology, managing of the trades, and all what affect around. And that's something that we will use, let's say, for the beginning of the year 2022. We already started to make this format, and we have already good feedback. So I believe we will continue by doing so. And still, again, there will be some change on 2022. It's like very soon holidays. So I wish you happy holidays to everyone a little bit earlier, but it's important to wish. And that's it. Have a nice week. See you tomorrow. Yanni will make the trading room. Again, happy holidays, guys, and see you soon with me. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, guys. Thank you very much.